So Town to City is a very chill city builder, and a massive thank you to Lurkit for giving me a key to play the game early. This game was developed by Galaxy Grove, which is the company behind Station to Station, and that is a rail management game with the same voxel art style, and it was also published by Quali, if I've pronounced that right. And that is the company that published The Precinct, which is a very good game. Town to City is coming to early access on the 16th of September, so literally tomorrow, and it's also going to have a 10% launch discount that's going to last for a week. And what happens in this game is you start off incredibly small. Like, you basically start off as this tiny little town and you slowly build your way up. And the way you build yourself up is by waiting for the train to come along. New families are going to get off the train, they're going to want to join your city, and they will eventually start having demands like they'll want to live near water, they'll want to live somewhere where they've got no neighbours nearby. And each time you reach a new milestone, you are going to upgrade the city. And with that, you'll get a bigger station, although it won't bring along any extra families each time the train comes, but you'll also get access to new items that are available through research. And something I've really enjoyed with this game is the freeform tool that you get. You do also have a line tool, and it's used for drawing out your roads. So you can use a line tool or you can freeform, so you can make all sorts of shapes and stuff. You can place the roads exactly how you want them. You can literally draw them out on the screen. And not only that, when it comes to the roads in the game, you can eventually upgrade them, which is going to reduce your transport costs, and it's also going to improve the range of some of your buildings, because not every building in the game has a massive range on them. There were a lot of buildings I had to put multiple of just to basically satisfy everyone I had in my city, because some of them have a very, very low range. And in order to get all of your goods, you need warehouses. They are going to supply all of your food stalls and your other buildings. Other buildings being like the bistro, opticians, you eventually get restaurants, you've got libraries, schools, so on and so forth. And what you need to do is the people that come to live in your city are going to need to work in these buildings. And the more you have in the building, the better the coverage. However, if you have too many, so let's say you've got 6 houses down and you've got a workplace that can house 10 workers, let's say the needs of those 6 houses can be satisfied by 2 workers. If you put 4 in there, they're just going to be resting, they're not going to do their job, so you'll be wasting some of your citizens. And even with upgraded roads, you still can't necessarily, depending how big your city is, you still might not be able to satisfy every single need, the needs of every single house that you've got. And the citizens, yes, they do have needs, and a lot of it is decoration. And the game's got some really, really nice looking decorations, from trees and fences to water fountains and street lights. And you get lots of different variations to all of them. You can even tick a box that will let you randomize. So say you want to put down this flower bed, you want to make it really long. Instead of having to manually select all the flowers, you can just set it to randomize, and it's going to put random ones down every time you put a new one down. And your citizens will get grumpy if you keep your city too simplistic with the decorations. And it's very important to make sure that you are fulfilling their needs, because happiness is going to make the city thrive. And if you drop below an overall of 60% happiness across all your different classes of citizens, people are going to start leaving their homes and leaving your city. And if it's a little bit above 60, so say between 60 and 70, families are going to come in very slowly. So you need to let your city thrive in order to keep bringing new families in and expanding. Another thing in this game that can massively decrease the happiness is population density. Your citizens would rather you build improved shops as you go through the research that have better range and stuff, and they would rather that than have everyone living close together just to keep the shops in range. But another good thing about this game is that the houses aren't just basic houses. You can add extra floors to them. It's going to cost $250 for your first extra floor. Then to go to the max, because there are only 3 floors available, it's going to cost $500 for that second upgrade, and that's per house, so it does become expensive. But I think it's really good that you can add extra floors to fit new families in, because it saves you having to build loads of different houses. And you will eventually go from your standard working citizens to other classes of people like artisans, and they are going to be quite greedy with their needs. They're going to require bigger and better amenities in order to stay happy. And the milestones of improving your city will go from needing, say for an example, 180 standard workers to then needing like 60 artisans. Your milestones aren't just going to be about your overall population, it will be based on the classes of citizens as well. And the map that you've been seeing gameplay of is not the only map on this game. You will eventually, through city upgrades, unlock a farming map, and is going to be much more focused on fields and farmhands, and is actually going to benefit the growth and happiness of the first map, so they're connected, because you need to set up trade routes and things like that, which I'll explain a little bit further into the video. And not only that, there is a third map, but at this stage of early access, because the game is launching into early access, the third map is not available. It's something they still need to work on, but eventually you will have access to 3 different maps in the game, and I'm pretty sure number 3 will connect with number 2 and 1 as well. And the farming map is incredibly important because when you get to a high city level on the first map, you're going to have access to buildings like the restaurant, and even if you've got maximum workers in there, you can't actually use it until you are producing crops and sending them over. You need to have trade routes set up, and it's not like manually selecting crops, so on and so forth. It's basically just toggling a switch. And the only way to get the game to allow you to send crops over is to go through the research on the farm map and unlock something called global stockpile. And the research on map number 1 is done through research centers. You put workers in there, they generate research points. When it comes to the farming map and unlocking things like global stockpile, new crops and things like that, you are going to need farm points, and those are obtained by basically just having more farms and fields available. But I really like how they've connected both the starting maps together. So it's not just like, oh, you go and do map number 1, you finish that, you move on to map number 2, start all over again, because your research and everything carries over too. You can reach the same milestones and unlock all the extra tiers on the second map, but if you've done it on the first map, you're not going to need to unlock it on the second one. So it means when you get to the farming map, you don't need to put down research centers and things like that, because you can run it all through the first map. And then when you progress even further into the game, you won't necessarily need the farming map at all anymore, because there is also a research node you can unlock, which is the final tier of research on the farming map. And what it's called is global farming, and what it does is it actually lets you place farms on the first map. So I mean, if you want to, you can go back to map 1, forget about the farming map altogether, and just build the biggest city you possibly can. Or you can use both in unison and use the second map for farming, and then just use all the crops and stuff you're generating to process food and things in your restaurants on your first map. And as I said, there will be a third map, but at the time of this review, it's not available due to the game being in early access. So I only got to get my hands on 2 of the 3 available maps in the game. And Town to City took around 6 hours for me to complete everything that's available, like pretty much everything. There were a few buildings I didn't research, I never placed some of the buildings down, but I did, I'm going to say, the vast majority of stuff. I think I had over 70 things from research unlocked, and I believe there's only 107 in total on the game. So yeah, with it taking me 6 hours, they're obviously going to be adding a third map, which is probably going to add at least another couple of hours worth of gameplay to the game. But not only that, there is sandbox mode if you want to just get creative and build your own cities. And I'm going to say, overall, Town to City is a really good, chill game that I highly recommend for people looking for a city builder. There's depth in the gameplay, there's a really nice art style to it, and it's also a game that never gets too stressful. Sometimes it can be a little bit sort of like, oh, I need to deal with the citizens' happiness, I need to have all of these leisure buildings put down, I need to have more food buildings set up. But overall, there's like bare minimum stress to it. And there's some really fun features, like connecting the different maps together, and I really enjoyed drawing out my own roads. So yeah, I highly recommend Town to City. I think it's a fantastic game, and again, a massive thank you to Lurkit. But that is my review for the game, and we are going to leave that video there. I will see you guys in the next one.